Hisoka is one of the most devilish villains in anime. We all know he has the looks, the abilities,
Bungee Gum はガムとゴム
and even the personality.
興奮しちゃうじゃないか
Except for one thing, a past. But that all changed on June 2nd, 2016. On that day, Sui Ishida, the creator of Tokyo Ghoul and former assistant of Togashi, dropped a 69-page bombshell, which is a canon one-shot manga called Hisoka'S Past. This manga revealed the secrets behind how Hisoka grew to be so powerful, who taught him the secrets of Nen and his mother, why does he dress up like a clown, and finally, what is the mystery behind his bloodlust of always fighting stronger opponents, thirsting for Gon. Well, just like all of us, Hisoka is a product of his environment. The story begins in the northern part of the European continent, just northeast of York New City. This area is covered in barren red earth mountains, making it a very poor part of the world, only able to support a nomad tribe called the Glam Caravan of Migrants. However, one day, a precious natural gas resource was discovered there, leading the Glam tribe to abandon their centuries-old nomadic lifestyle, instead settling near the deposits. Many others came in search of the gas, and this place became known as Glam Gas Land. Eventually, the gas deposits were depleted, but the Glam clan, now made rich through their management of this resource, decided to start building casinos alongside hotels to boost their economy again. This is similar to a barren place like Dubai, where they became rich from a limited resource like oil, and now they are using the money to shift their economy into the tourism sector. So in order to achieve the same objective, Glam Gas Land's hotels would put on shows and circuses. Since show business was a major trade here, it only made sense for Hisoka to end up taking part whilst adorning his clownish makeup and taking up the epithet of the magician. However, Hisoka didn't start his life as part of a circus. We first encounter him lying on the street, beaten to a pulp. This introduction to a young Hisoka showcases the harsh reality he grew up in. He already understood the idea of the hunter and the hunted, embodying the theme of the manga. An arid land with the only valuable resource now gone. Every day must have been a fight for survival for Hisoka. This mentality caused him to develop his thirst and thrill for challenges in the future. Being brought up in this competitive place, Hisoka gained a mindset that only the strongest can keep surviving, hence why he has the need to keep challenging stronger and greater foes after every victory. He wants to climb up the food chain of the Hunter x Hunter world, so him being beaten up on the street like this could just be a result of him losing a challenge. Fortunately, the kind Moritomo circus troupe came across him and took Hisoka under their care. He was let into the group for a reason. Moritonio could see his Giga Chad Nen potential from the beginning, and he compared Hisoka's raw talent to unpolished gold. In a place like Glam Gas, kindness alone isn't enough to help somebody. One party must gain from the other. This is showcased by the animosity the rest of the troupe felt towards Hisoka, who can't see his potential. They think he will weigh them down. Similarly, Hisoka would gain a lot from meeting Moritonio. As time went on, even his haters quickly came to understand his worth when Hisoka performed an advanced card trick that left the troupe in awe. This even prompts Moritonio to say Hisoka's skill is greater than his own. One thing to note here is where Hisoka learned his magic tricks. He claims he learned them from his very skilled mother. This implies that she was also a performer and that their bond was very strong, but she passed away when he was young, which is implied by the way he spoke of her in past tense. We get a sense of Hisoka's personality from the way he speaks so casually about his mother. He doesn't give much thought to the past, leaving only room for his goals and aspirations in the future. This looking to the future attitude is the reason we haven't seen Hisoka cry or even get angry. Hisoka's deep connection with his mother can be seen through how the only information about his past before being beaten up to a pulp is about her teaching him tricks. The candy Bungee Gum he always eats can be seen as a reminder for a better past he had when his mother gave him the sweets. So his mother's death must have been a massive shock to him. The reality of having to be all alone in the world also tells us why Hisoka has this personality of elastic love, where just like his Bungee Gum ability, he can attach and detach himself to people quite easily. He became part of the Phantom Troop for years, trying to get a battle with Chrollo, but with zero hesitation, he has now started killing all of them. His attachment with Gon is literally so he could see him grow and dismantle him, severing that thread himself. The world might have taken his mother from him, but Hisoka is now taking control for the people he likes. In the midst of Hisoka's stunts, many-faced John Doe is a serial killer, and he is discussed amongst the troop. This murderer would purposefully allow himself to be seen by cameras, as he had the unique ability to change his face. Similarly, Hisoka mimics others' abilities to achieve his goals. We see an example of this with a juggler. When he broke his foot right before the performance of a lifetime, Hisoka took his place in an instant. Right then and there, he proved he could follow the same routine that took the injured troop member 12 years to perfect. He did it so well, in fact, that when the jealous second juggler threw him a curveball in the middle of their show, Hisoka caught it perfectly. This made the other juggler leave the troop out of shame. This is crazy to think about, as the Moritomo troop is very well known and respected in a nation where your status and livelihood is dictated by how well you can perform. This juggler gave up a comfortable life because of one embarrassing moment. Hisoka stole a craft that spanned over a decade, which is an entire person's identity and dignity, just so he himself could further his position, similar to how the John Doe killer takes people's lives and faces to fulfill his own desire. This nonchalant demonstration of Hisoka's talent threatened the other troop members so much that they started practicing their acts in secret, just so Hisoka wouldn't do their routines better than them. To put this feat into power scaling terms, as Hisoka eventually does become one of the strongest hunters we come to know, he achieved something similar to Jing Freaks. This similarity of Hisoka to Jing is also hinted at by Moritonio when he tells us of the time he took the hunter exam. The year he participated, only one person passed it and became a hunter. The only hunters who we know that have done this is Jing and Killua. Killua wasn't born so long ago, so it has to be Jing Freaks. Moritonio was reminded of Jing more than once because of Hisoka. Just like Jing has an innate trait to make other nen abilities his own, as shown by him copying and improving Leorio's power, Hisoka seems to also possess this, as shown by his imitation and improvement of the juggling. And later on in the story, he copies aspects of Moritonio's own nen abilities. Hisoka claims that this is the true motivation for him remaining in the troop. However, this was not a challenging feat for him. His talent in magic tricks and observation carries over to his nen mastery, and we can see this as he is compared to Akabe, Ruby, another troop member who is learning how to use her aura from Moritonio. Sid, can you put this into perspective for everyone?
From the get-go, Hisoka could already see the auras of others. This alone would normally require months of meditation. So with this revelation, Moritonio decides to teach him how to use Nen alongside Abaki. Abaki had been training for 3 years in Ren, and it took her another 9 months to learn Ten. Hisoka mastered Ten in just a week. He even learned Hatsu with no instruction whatsoever. We can compare Hisoka and Abaki to Gon, Killua, and Zushi. Zushi was able to master Ten in only 6 months, and he was considered 1 in 100,000 for his Nen talent. Even then, Gon and Killua learned how to harness Nen in a day. While their aptitude alone was incredibly rare, 1 in 10 million, they were also instructed by Wing, a Shingen Ryu instructor. Gon and Killua were not capable of doing what Hisoka has achieved at a young age, even with their amazing genetics, talent, and better environments to achieve such a feat. They pretty much used a cheat code, as their aura nodes were opened up with brute force. It also took them months to learn Hatsu through harsh training and proper instruction from Bisky, Kite, and Wing for them to achieve this feat that Hisoka has achieved. This puts everything into perspective, as Hisoka learned how to use Nen in a very short amount of time. His progression begins after he takes the water divination test, which shows he is a transmuter. In a matter of weeks, Hisoka could turn an entire bathtub of water into the gooey substance. Not that gooey substance. Yeah, I'll get your mind out of the gutter. The one I'm talking about is Bungee Gum.
Say the line!
Which has the properties of both rubber and gum. With this, we can dissect the similarity Hisoka has to Killua. Both of them are transmuters who were exposed to the respective Nen elements, electricity, and Bungee Gum. Early on, Hisoka is seen chewing gum and offering it to others. His favorite bubble gum is literally called Bungee Gum. Through the knowledge we know about his mother, she gave him gum as a kid. Since she's dead now, he is attached to this gum, leading him to turn it into his Hatsu. Because remember, your Hatsu is a core representation of your emotions and upbringing. Another thing that builds on Hisoka's ability to copy others is the fact that he would train in secret, just like the other troop members. For example, the scene where he turns water into Bungee Gum while taking a bath is obviously not something you would do in front of others. This shows us how he follows the #1 rule of being a hunter: to never reveal one's secrets. To see the results of Hisoka's Nen progression, we move into the future, where Abaki comes face to face with the John Doe killer as he is smashing someone in an alleyway. She promptly whips out her aura-infused jump rope, thinking that a regular NPC wouldn't be able to withstand a Nen attack no matter how strong they are. However, the serial killer blocks her attack with his bare hands using his own Ryo. As Abaki is about to be flattened by John Doe, Hisoka, like a dazzling prince, flies in out of nowhere, slicing the killer's face with his own Nen-hardened card. The killer promptly flees, not wanting to tangle with 2 Nen users, but Hisoka is unfazed. He instead feels that this interaction felt fake. This is likely referring to the mask the John Doe killer adorned. Hurting or killing someone who cloaks themselves behind this facade is no challenge for Hisoka. If you genuinely love the thrill of what you are doing, you shouldn't have to hide that orgasm under the mask. We can infer that Hisoka deliberately refrained from dealing John Doe a fatal blow because even a novice's Nen-infused strike against an undefended opponent is lethal. Just like Crollo or Gon, this was actually the first fruit Hisoka wanted to taste in full. Therefore, he opted to only hurt the mask on the killer's face to show his distaste. A few days pass and the Moritonio troops' performance at the Royal Glam Hotel is a massive hit. While everyone else is celebrating, Hisoka and Moritonio sit down for a chat. Moritonio views Hisoka as his golden goose of talent who can propel their acts to worldwide fame. However, Hisoka only decided to help them out if he got to learn Nen in return. But since he has mastered it now, Hisoka has no reason to stay with the troop because he has nothing else to gain from them. Moritonio understands this predicament, so he tries to prod into Hisoka's past. Learning about someone's origin can give a lot of information about what they desire, which a hunter can then use to manipulate them. So in exchange of his past, Moritonio will give away his own secrets and teach Hisoka his swimming act. But Hisoka doesn't play along. He reveals that he already figured out that Moritonio is the John Doe killer. Through his keen observation, Hisoka noticed the hidden injury under Moritonio's eye that he would have given him earlier. So Moritonio, being cornered, he decides to give his bad guy speech. Moritonio loved the face people made when they were surprised. He saw surprising others as engulfing them with his overwhelming power and presence. This joy was what he hunted, ever since showing card tricks to his family. But his lust for surprises grew with every trick he performed for others. He had to make the next one even more surprising. So climbing up that ladder of surprise, he ended up killing his own sister just to shock her. In parallel, Hisoka also embodies these same characteristics. However, instead of searching for surprises, he yearns for a new challenge every time. The thrill of battle boils his blood just like Moritonio after a show. Hisoka didn't care for John Doe. However, he's now interested, as evidenced by his comment about how he finally drew the card he wanted. He quickly goes on the offensive, knocking Moritonio's hat off him and putting it on himself, shocking the old man instead. This results in Moritonio showing off his nen ability, the patchwork reality Scarface. With this power, he can use a normal handkerchief to change his face at will. He quickly reverts his face back to his own, as that was the magic of John Doe the killer, not Moritonio the troop leader. He whips out a new attack, crushing Hisoka onto the ground. But in that moment of desperation, Hisoka figures out how to use Gyo, allowing him to see his enemy's nen attack. Moritonio was even more surprised now, because he hadn't taught Hisoka anything other than harnessing one's ten and ren. Hisoka deduces that he was being crushed by magnets. These magnets are the same way Moritonio performs his airwalk. With this revelation, another one of his surprises is destroyed. From the start, Hisoka has been in control of this battle of surprises. To win this fight, both parties must shock one another. And Hisoka has been on a roll, while every single one of Moritonio's secrets is being dismantled by the clown. Hisoka doesn't stop here though, as he whips out his own Hatsu, which is a copy of air swimming. This gives Moritonio a chill, because he's experiencing what all of his victims, including his sister, must have felt when they realized they had no control over the situation. Moritonio is blinded by this. Even though Hisoka hasn't proved that his Hatsu is a copy of his own, he already believes it to be. The truth is actually much different. Hisoka isn't using magnetic fields to manipulate objects. He just stuck Bungee Gum to the pillars and connected the central point to be Moritonio. So just like a rubber band slinging back, Bungee Gum's retraction caused the pillars to crush him as they attracted to him like magnets. Although Hisoka didn't outright steal Mori's power, he used the same principle behind his ability to dispose of it. Hisoka definitely had the ability to copy Moritonio's power though, as shown by his final act in this battle. Before leaving, he imitates John Doe's handkerchief power. He puts the handkerchief on Moritonio's head, changing him to John Doe. This tells us that Moritonio was masking his true self behind the identity of John Doe. If he had used John Doe's ability to change his pillar's appearance, it's possible Hisoka wouldn't have figured out the secret to his magnetism. Hisoka stealing John Doe's power also speaks about his own character. He sees himself in the same light as John Doe, who derives pleasure from crushing others, which Hisoka does through his challenges. His final challenge in life is Chrollo Lucifer. And we have covered why Hisoka cheated death in the video displayed right now, so go check it out.